Yo, Cover One crew, what is going on? Welcome back to the show. Hope y'all be good. I am great because we're breaking down another fabulous talent. We're jumping back into the lab, and today we're talking a little JAXON SMITH-NJIGBA, the wide receiver from the Ohio State Buckeyes, one of my favorites. Absolutely love his game. Been on the wagon for a very long time, and I got nothing but gleaming things to say about this man because he is that good of a talent at the wide receiver position. But before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me if you dig the content. Truly appreciate all the support from everybody. I mean, what do you say? We dive into the scouting report for one of the better wide receivers in this NFL draft class. You know, to be real, it took a long time for so many in the scouting business to come around on JAXON SMITH-NJIGBA and his game overall. There was a lot of doubt early on in this process as they started to see the combine, pro day. You know, you see how fluid this man runs. Now everyone's starting to get on the wagon saying he's the top wide receiver in this draft class. I don't know if I'm going to go that far to say he's the best because there is, you know, some debate to be had when it comes to the other wide receivers, but he is extremely sound in his craft. No kidding. I'm a huge fan, like I just said. Let's dive into those measurables as per usual. He stands 6 foot 196. He is only 21 years of age. He played in 23 contests, 110 receptions, 1698 in yards, a decent 15.4 on the average, and 10 receiving touchdowns. The statistical achievement isn't abundant as it is in other wide receivers in this draft class, simply because he just didn't play a lot. He basically lost his whole last season due to the hamstring injury, decided basically to shut it down. And I mean, okay, was he playing it safe for the NFL draft knowing that his stock was already extremely high? Highly likely. But I think, you know, I wish he would have played. It would have been good to see. Everyone still questions, you know, did he do it with just Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson? Did they pull all the coverage to their side to give JSN all the, targets and receptions and receiving yards? I don't buy it for a second because he still would have played with someone named Marvin Harrison Jr., But let's dive into those pros because he's got a ton of them, man. Good body type and smooth running style right off the bat. 6 foot, almost 200 pounds. He's a put-together wide receiver that you're looking for. He is one of the, between him and Quentin Johnston, they are the heavier type of top-end talent at the wide receiver spot where you got guys like Zay Flowers and Addison. They're in the 175 to 180 range, so he does have more height. He does have more weight. He is put together in that sense because he does play the slot more often than not anyway, so he's got to be able to take some of that punishment. But we're talking the smooth running style, the fluidity, movements. It's gorgeous in what JAXON SMITH-NJIGBA does for you on this field. And it's a big trait for me. I love my fluid runners. I love it in running backs and wide receivers. You got to be able to have that ability where you're not choppy, tight-hipped. And this is something that JAXON SMITH-NJIGBA is not. He is an absolute smooth running wide receiver. He's got more than enough wheels. I know that's the knock. He doesn't have the breakaway burst and speed, but he's got more than enough. Showed at his pro day. He ran the 4.48 to 4.52. So you can't hate it. I mean, there's more than enough wheels to get to the end zone. We've seen it more than once on film in that season that he did play the full year. But, I mean, he's not going to necessarily – he's likely going to get caught more often than he's going to score long touchdowns. But we have seen him make house calls with sound blocking, and he does make some moves in the open field. So he does have more than enough. I'm not overly concerned where some were saying, I don't know if I can take him because they were expecting him to run like a 4.58, which did not happen. So strong athletic ability. Some say no. I say yes because I've seen it so many times. The acrobatic catches, the body adjustments where he's looking to the left and his body completely adjusts to the right, catches it on the sideline, toe taps. He's got extreme athletic ability, no kidding. And I don't know anybody who watches film and says he does not, because I do not agree and I will not agree. Body balance, absolutely top end in this man. He does it extremely well. He helped out CJ Stroud on some errant passes more often than you could even think because it did happen and did transpire. Extremely soft hands, and the ball skills are just elite in this man. We got other guys to compare when it comes to Ohio State, when it is Chris Olave, it is Garrett Wilson. Those guys had, ball skills for days. So does JAXON SMITH-NJIGBA. He is good in this department. Ball skills are elite. Over the shoulder, ball tracking ability, ball adjustments on the sideline, over the middle, aggressively going high. He does it all. And I got no qualms about that ability. He is definitely one of the better wide receivers in that aspect at that, ball skill eliteness, I guess I should say. Release package footwork is sound to me. Can he get pressed up? We haven't necessarily seen enough to say that it's it's a detriment to his game. I think that based on how his body frame is, he should be able to at least break some press, or some tough physical corners may press him up, but he does play the slot a lot more, so he does get a lot of free releases more often than, a lot of people want to see. The question mark, can he break the press coverage is the real question, but I think, his footwork is just that sound that even if he does get pressed up, he's going to figure it out and understand how to maneuver and get the defensive back off balance just with his footwork, because it is smooth. It's very clean, and he'll be able to, get off press breaks in that respect. He does have above average or average wiggle in the open field. I think it's good enough. It's not elite. It's not great in that respect either, but he's got more than enough where he can make people miss with a shake or a juke, and then he's off to the races. We have seen that more often than not also. Route run technician, absolutely smooth and sharp plant cuts. The breaks in and out of his routes are extremely good, and he's going to be able to break free and create separation that way. Where the speed is a detriment to, gain that separation, it is the route breaks that will create open lanes for his quarterback to find him in the open field. And CJ Stroud had no problems finding this man on the regular, and you watch it. The question marks, there are some who do question the full route tree, and I completely understand that, because there is, a very set, stable of routes that he does perform, so you do want to see it rounded out. But is he going to play outside in the NFL a whole heck of a lot? That's to be seen as well. Sudden route breaks are elite. I gotta say, it's just the smooth, sharp route breaks. It's so good. Just covered all that, but he is very good in that department. Owns the middle deep, and it's just playmaking ability straight up. CJ Stroud, if he ever needed to play middle deep 20 yards down the field, he's going to JSN, and Jaxon Smith-NJIGBA is coming down with that ball. He's so good in this department, and that's what was one of the funner parts of his game to watch, where you even talk about a CJ Stroud and his ability to dissect the field over the middle. Big boy throws in that zone above and over the linebacker, in between the safeties, and JSN understands with that field awareness, which I do believe is great as well. He understands where the open windows are for his quarterback to find those lanes and get into the open field where his quarterback can find him. JSN knows how to do this very well, and he's going to continue that in the NFL. I have no questions in my mind. The yak ability is very good. It's not great. It's not elite, because you do want to see the wheels and the speed in the game. He does not necessarily possess, but he does got enough yak ability. There is an aspect of his game where he has understood, instead of taking the big shots, he does go down. And I don't fault him for that, where some scouts do, put downgrades on that. I don't put downgrades on that, because it is a smart, intelligent move where he's not taking the big shots. He's just going down and, going to fight for another play. That's body reliability, lack of injuries, where the soft tissue and the hammy wasn't. Maybe he's trying to run a little too fast when you see the soft tissue injuries come. Is the slot going to be home for Jaxon Smith-NJIGBA? Highly likely. Can he play outside? Is he capable outside? I do believe he can play outside. I don't think it precludes him to only play in the slot, but will they allow him to play outside? He is better in the slot, and he likely will be in the NFL also. So it's going to be very interesting. If a team does want to decide to move him outside from time to time, I don't think it's a detriment to his game either. I think that he can do it, and he is capable outside to play. If you want to talk about elite talent in any draft or any rookie or any college player, you want to see that wow contest, go watch the 2021 or 2022 Rose Bowl. It was unbelievable what Jaxon Smith-NJIGBA was able to do. 15 receptions, 347 in yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. He was a madman, possessed that day. I caught that game live, and I was just saying, wow, every time he caught the football, he was just making plays all over the field. Everywhere he was, running routes, CJ Stroud was finding him, and he was coming down with that Brock, coming down with the ball. And that was the standard moment, the staple moment for a Jaxon Smith-NJIGBA to say, I have arrived, and I am one of the better wide receivers in this NFL draft class. That is the game if you want to see how he took over a contest. Jaxon Smith-NJIGBA definitely put that on film for y'all. But for some cons, he's got some cons as well. Inexperience, lack of gameplay, 23 games. Okay, we have to put it down. It is a marker. And okay, was it out of his ability to play? Yes, we're saying that the hammy was hurt, but could he have played it out after a while? There is possibilities. Heard a lot of people said that he did not want to come and play. Who knows? We speculate at this point. We're not in the locker room at Ohio State, but the lack of gameplay is something that, there may be a little bit of grooming and growing pains when he does enter the NFL because he hasn't played a 30-plus contest, in his collegiate career. But still, everything that he's put on tape is shown that he is going to eventually be one of the top dogs in the NFL. Top-end speed in question, we all know this. 4.48 to 4.52 is not blazing speed. Can he still make a house call? Yes. Is he likely going to get caught 7 or 8 out of 10 when he's in the open field? Probably. That's kind of what you're getting from a JSN, but it doesn't preclude him from taking it to the house if the blocking is set up, because he does have enough to stretch it out and make a big play. No real burst. One speed acceleration. As you continue to break down his film, you see it more often, and you say, yeah, this is a definite con for me. It is one speed that he does play at. He'll have the initial accelerators pop off when he does get off the line. He does make his route break, but then that's basically it, and it's one speed. You're not going to see the stop-start burst at all in a Jackson Smith-NJIGBA. It's very minor burst in this man. It's got to say it's acceleration over any kind of burst. No twitchy movements as well. Kind of coincides with the burst ability. He does not possess these traits, in my opinion. I think it doesn't stop him from being a great, talented wide receiver, but this is not what you're going to be asking him to do. He's not like a Kadarius Toney. He's not, like a Mecole Hardman type of wide receiver when it comes to the jets and natural movements. He's just not that type of guy. Separation skills up and down. I didn't want to say inconsistent because he does get open, and even when he is locked up, he's still able to make the plays because he understands the arm push-offs to at least gain that the arm length separation from his defensive back. So he does do that extremely well, but you do see a lot of the times that quicker defensive backs can, stay on his hip pretty quick, but he still manages to come down with the ball. So there is some contested catch ability that he is good, but the separation skills definitely up and down. Could be technical issues that you're going to see cleaned up in the NFL with proper coaching. Hopefully he gets on a squad that understands how to coach that up, man, for sure. Limited to the slot, not enough to go outside, not enough juice to go outside. Kind of covered that already in the pros. I do believe if given the opportunity, he could probably do some damage outside. Will it be consistent and, be his regular role? Highly unlikely in the NFL. But, when we look at Jackson Smith-NJIGBA, I'm talking more like, a lesser Keenan Allen type of wide receiver. Even though Keenan does play outside, you do like how Keenan runs his routes, has the ability in the open field. I think JSN could be kind of a lesser Keenan Allen in that type of respect as well, where we do know that Keenan Allen isn't a barn burner either when it comes to his wheels and speed. Kind of fitting him into that mold. A lesser Keenan Allen, I'm kind of comfortable saying that as we sit today. Could NFL press be a problem? Kind of covered that as well. And I think that, depending on who he goes up against, if he is in the slot, you're going to see a lot of free releases for him, which is going to be to his benefit anyway, like he saw at Ohio State. So the press thing is kind of interesting. If they play him outside, I'm very curious to see if he's going to be able to break it off. So we'll see about that as he gets into the pros. Only one season of top-end numbers, like I told y'all, the injury in 2022. So, he didn't necessarily play that season, but it is what it is. But for grading purposes, JSN is a big favorite of mine. I think he's going to be a fabulous talent in the pros. And we could see him go to the Chicago Bears and reunite with the Justin Fields. I got him at 79.3% for my potential grade score. Knocked him down on some of the agile movements, some of the speed markers, but it's still 79 is a 0.3 is a fabulous grade for a wide receiver who is likely a day one starter in the slot position for any club. And if he does find his way to those Chicago Bears, like I'm saying, it only makes sense. The NFL is trying to get all the old college teammates back together when it comes to QBs and wide receivers. This would be a natural fit for Chicago to get JSN on the squad with a Justin Fields, and we could see some absolute chemistry and fireworks coming from these two gentlemen. But I'm a big fan. Jackson Smith-NJIGBA is a real one, no kidding. So there you have it. That is Jackson Smith-NJIGBA. I'm a big fan, huge Ohio State supporter at this point because they were just too darn good, man. When you had Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, CJ Stroud, you got Travion Henderson in that backfield, I was just every single weekend I had to go and watch the Ohio State Buckeyes play because they were just too darn entertaining and good to follow. But nevertheless, JSN is a great talent, and he should be a one of the top wide receivers. I say 1 or 2 off the board come April's draft, no kidding. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. What do you think of Jackson Smith-NJIGBA? What is your wide receiver ranks? Throw them in the comments. Let's talk it out, man. It's good to talk and debate. I love it, but we'll see you next time. I am out.